Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today I want to talk to you about our experience of having to wear a mask on our most recent cruise. If you're new around here, welcome. We are so very happy to have you with us. We just sailed on the Majestic Princess round trip out of Seattle to Alaska, and we went August 15th through the 22nd. It turns out that our cruise was the first one that Princess required all of the passengers to have proof of a negative COVID test done within 3 days of embarkation, as well as wearing a mask in all of the indoor areas. And so as you might know, Princess updated their protocols a few days ago, actually on September 2nd, and I did a video on that day about that, and so I will link that below so that you can take a look. But they did not change their mask requirements. So what they require of their cruise passengers now is the same as it was when we cruised. And so I just wanted to read to you a little bit off of the Princess health protocol page so that you could hear what their requirements are, and then I'll tell you what our experience was so you kind of know how they put that into action. So they said, first, we strongly encourage guests wear face masks when in public spaces indoors. All guests will be required to wear a face mask with no exceptions in elevators, retail shops, in the casino, and other designated areas except while eating or drinking. Guests will also be required to wear a face mask in other designated areas where larger number of guests may congregate. As a reminder, masks are required during the embark and debark in the terminal, and masks should also be worn during the debarkation process on board. We recommend that they just remind us that we should change our mask often and make sure we get a good double layer cloth or medical grade mask. And they do say that wearing a face shield or a visor is not a replacement for a mask. And so know that. Then I also wanted to say, it says additionally, when going ashore, guests may be prepared to follow all local guidance regarding masks and physical distancing. The status of local guidelines will be shared with guests prior to debarkation at the destination. These new requirements are being implemented to protect our guests and crew while on board. Several destinations have implemented their own requirements, and all guests will be required to follow the protocols in each destination we visit. We expect that these requirements will be temporary, and we appreciate your cooperation and look forward to welcoming you on board. And so that is what Princess has had to say about it. And when we were on the ship, we really did our best to wear our masks all the time indoors, except for while we were eating and drinking. We wanted to do that because we felt like that is what we had agreed to by embarking on this cruise, knowing what Princess required. And also, we just thought that it really showed respect for our fellow passengers. And so first of all, the very first day when we got on, embarkation day in Seattle, was just an absolutely beautiful day. The sun was shining, it was really, really warm. I think it was in the upper 80s, low 90s, and everyone, it seemed, wanted to be out on the open decks. And so there were lots of people by the pool, there were people in the pool, there were lots of people lounging there, enjoying food and drinks, and so no one had their mask on, and you didn't have to wear your mask anywhere outdoors there. You could even walk up, they have a couple of bars in the pool area, and they have the noodle place, and they have the burger and lobster grill, and you could just walk up there and order what you wanted. You didn't have to wear a mask or put it on to do that. All of the crew members wore their masks all the time, indoors and outdoors, and so of course they had theirs on, but you weren't required to put yours on. And the same was true the entire trip. There are lots of outdoor areas on the Majestic Princess and really on all the cruise ships, and no one was worried about wearing their mask in those areas. And of course, if passengers wanted to, here and there one would, and they would have them on, but you weren't required to wear your mask anywhere outdoors. And so there was no big deal with wearing a mask there. And so when you were indoors, like it said, you were asked to wear it. And really, we saw almost everyone we saw was just wearing their mask in all the indoor areas, like when you were walking up and down the halls, where the cabins are. Everyone had their mask on, in the elevators, just everywhere people did. And so I wanted to let you know that the crew was really very nice. One evening we had been getting our pictures taken and we were just going around. If you haven't cruised on Princess, they have just different places set up. You just go over by the piazza and you'll be able to find them. And we really like to go to almost all of them, if not all of them, and get our picture taken, because they all have different backdrops and they all have different photographers. And so it kind of increases your probability of getting a really good picture on the cruise. And we did get a couple of really good pictures of us, so we were really pleased. But anyway, we were going around getting our picture taken, and they, of course, let you take your mask off to get your picture taken, and then we just put them on as we moved along to the next one. Well, after we got done with the last one, it wasn't very far to walk down to the Allegro dining room where our dinner was, and I completely forgot to put my mask back on. My husband remembered his, and I don't know why. Me looking at him didn't remind me, but it didn't. And so when we got down to the Allegro dining room, there wasn't a line or anything. We just walked up to the hostess, and the first thing that she said to me was, "Will you please put your mask on?" And I felt really bad, so I apologized, and then I just quickly got it out and put it on. But they were really very nice about it. No one was unkind about wearing a mask. It didn't seem like they were going around trying to find people who weren't wearing a mask, and so that was really nice. The last night that we were on board, we had a reservation at the Concerto dining room, and when we got down there, there was a long line waiting, and so I don't know if it was just a busy reservation time or if there were some people mixed in there that didn't have one, and that's why there was a long line, but it doesn't really matter. But I noticed that there were a few people in line that didn't have their mask on. Most people did, and I did not see a crew member going up and down the line looking for people without a mask. I'm sure that when that person got to the door of the dining room, based on my experience, they asked them to put their mask on. And so then when you go in the dining room, you just leave them on. And what we did is some people would take them off right the moment we sat down. We usually just left ours on until they brought us a drink or something to eat, and then we took it off, and then we didn't put it back on until we were done with dinner. And so when you're in the dining room, you don't have to put it on, or like if you're sitting, when you're eating or drinking, and that kind of ties in, when you're sitting in the piazza, if you get a drink or you want to get something from the International Cafe and sit in that area, you can just sit there and enjoy it and eat your food. You don't have to put your mask back on in between bites or sips of your drink. And it's really nice because then you just enjoy the ship like you used to, and like we've always done, and it was really nice. And so that worked out really good. When you're in the Princess Theater, if you go there for a performance show, which I would add, those performance shows are really outstanding. I've always thought that princess shows were good. They, I think, have always done a really nice job, but I think they have really used the close down time to really kick everything up a notch. They were just outstanding, like really, really good. Like everything seemed better. The costumes, which were beautiful before, but just the singing and the whole shows, everything was really good. So anyway, when you're in the Princess Theater, you need to wear a mask. They don't have you sit far away from each other. They don't leave seats in between people. So even when you go there, like when they have you gather there before you head off on an excursion, they just have you sit by each other. So just go ahead and plan to wear your mask there. And that works really well. I didn't see anybody, like when we went to wait for our excursion, everybody had their mask on. I know that when the Princess show was going on, they turn off the lights, and it's not like you're spending your time looking around to see who has a mask on and who doesn't. I noticed some people sitting close to us. One of them didn't have it, but I'm not going to tell them to put it on, and it's really okay with me. And so just know that you'll need to wear your mask there. When we were in the shops, I saw a couple of people without a mask, but the crew was really nice about it. They didn't ask anyone to put their mask on in the shop, I noticed, until if you wanted to go pay for something, they would ask. I noticed them asking some people to put it on when they wanted to pay, but other than that, it was just no problem at all. And so really, there are so many outdoor areas, first of all, to enjoy yourself, that you don't need to worry about being indoors all of the time. And so even if you are indoors, it's really nice, and it's not a big deal. So don't worry about that one little bit. So I wanted to let you know that I mentioned that you know, Princess mentioned that when you are going to go into a port, you have to follow all of their COVID protocols. And so, you know what, if you Google like cruise port protocols, you will find that it really varies. So some cruise ports you can get off, in some ports you have to kind of look for what their protocols are, but in some ports, like, it's okay, just get off, you don't have to wear a mask. I noticed that some of the ports in the Bahamas and other places, some of them are requiring that passengers wear a mask. So for Alaska, for our cruise, they did require that passengers wear a mask, and every day that we got into port, over the loudspeaker they reminded everybody to please wear your mask, and everyone was wearing it as they disembarked, because you're close to a lot of people as you disembark. You get off the ship, and as you walk further down, if you're just going to go for a walk and you're far away from people, you know, you're not huddled up, then you don't need to wear a mask. But when you are in their shops, if you are in an enclosed area on a boat, if you're on a bus, if you're on a shuttle, if you're like on the White Pass train because you're indoors, you need to wear a mask in all of those areas. When we went on our excursions, like I said, on the inside area of the boat, you had to wear a mask, but they made a point of saying that when you were out on the open area, you could take your mask off. And so that was nice. When we did the Haynes Wilderness excursion, you had to wear your mask on the bus, but then once you got off the bus, you didn't have to wear your mask. And some people just wanted to wear their mask all the time, and that is absolutely okay as well. And so if you want to keep your mask on, just keep your mask on. Just do whatever makes you most comfortable as far as that goes. But that's kind of what was required in Alaska, and so we were really careful to do that. I noticed that there would be a few people here and there that would forget to put their mask on in shops, but I didn't see anybody ask them about it, and I just tried to do a really good job to not forget mine. And so I know it's sometimes hard to remember when you're thinking about other things, and so that's kind of the situation with going into Alaska with your mask on. I just remembered I wanted to tell you that on the ship, you know, in our other videos, I mentioned in some of them about the Hollywood Conservatory area, and that's an area that has like a pool, and it has a couple of hot tubs that are indoors. And a couple of times, I think like 3 times we went there, and my husband went swimming, and while he did that, I just sat in a lounge chair and read, because I like to do that. And I noticed that, of course, when you're in the pool and the hot tub, nobody has a mask on. And when there was really nobody else there, because a couple of times it was very empty, it was mostly just us and a couple of other people, I didn't wear my mask. But then when anybody would come and be very close, then I would put it back on. And I noticed that's what most people did. Some people were in there in lounge chairs without their mask on, and I think that's okay. It doesn't really matter what I think about that. But anyway, so that was just kind of where we did. We just paid attention to where we were, who was around us, and we were really careful about that. And so my suggestion with all of this is, if you want to go on a cruise, just find a mask that you like. You know, there's lots of different kinds out there. I will link a few below that I like. I even found an N95 one that I like, and so I will link that below. But just find something that you like and that doesn't bother you, and go ahead and have a wonderful cruise. So if any of you have any questions about anything with the masking or anything that we saw, don't hesitate to ask in the comments below, as well as questions about anything else. If you have enjoyed this video and you appreciate what we tell you, would you please consider subscribing to our videos? The next big goal we're trying to reach is 10,000 subscribers, and I know we have a ways to go, but we really appreciate you being with us, and I'm sure we can do it with your support. So thank you. And also, if you have enjoyed this video, will you please give it a thumbs up? That really helps our channel as well. It just kind of makes it come up so that people that want to find out about cruising and masks, this will come up a little bit higher in their search. So thank you very much. I'll be talking to you again soon. You take really good care. God bless you. Mwah. Love you. Bye-bye.